X-Men. Get it!
Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Atom. This is your weekly X-Men podcast where we rank every story from A to Z.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Zach.
Hey, this is Zach, jumping in here from the after recording to let you know I selected the wrong mic input, so my track sounds like trash. Sorry, it's still listenable, but I hacked up, and that's borderline disrespectful to you good folks. So, sorry about that.
Hey Adam, I hear you've had a rough week.
Well, I fell down a flight of stairs, so...
A what?
Concrete stairs.
Are you saying that your worst enemy is stairs?
Yes, I am. That was not fun, but I am okay. And I am ready to... I will say one thing that I wish I had been during this experience was, like maybe I could have had Colossus's power of turning my body into some sort of steel to protect myself. But nonetheless, I unfortunately don't have those powers. But we do have some Colossus stories today.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be a Colossus episode, but it kind of turned into that, didn't it?
Well, yeah, just the way it shakes out. Well, are we calling this a Colossus episode or a Breakworld episode?
Yeah, let's start with that. And folks, you can figure out where this goes. But this is a episode that comes to us from Patreon supporter Jeremy Thomas. Jeremy went on over to patreon.com/comicsxf and said, y'all, I like the work you're doing. I like supporting independent comics journalism. And threw some money into our pockets that went directly into the pockets of our contributors and also into making this episode where we're going to talk about his request, which was Astonishing X-Men Unstoppable. This has art by John Cassaday with Laura Martin colors. And wouldn't you know it, Joss Whedon wrote these.
Oh boy. Well, and I think we should probably just face the music here. Joss Whedon is coming off of an incredibly... I don't even know what to say. It's just so dark.
He's a trash bag person, and he deserves to be put in a trash bag and then put in the trash.
Yeah.
Because Joss Whedon is trash.
Look, we've known this for a long time. I think that Joss Whedon's wife's letter had come out even before we had started doing this show. So this is not exactly breaking news, but hearing Charisma Carpenter's accounts in support of Ray Fisher, then having Sarah Michelle Gellar come out and voice her support, hearing Michelle Trachtenberg say something very disturbing, that the set of Buffy was not letting Joss be alone in a room with her.
Here's a good barometer for if someone is a trash person. It's if other people are comfortable leaving a teenage girl in the same room with them. If you cannot pass that incredibly low bar, then you're a trash person.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it. And Joss Whedon, let's be frank, there's stuff of his that I have enjoyed. That's the truth of the matter. That has to now live in concert with the fact that he's a trash bag person and deserves to be thrown in the dump.
Yeah, so especially after hearing, day after day of either, different accusations or other people coming out to support people, just having all of that fresh in my mind, especially as we went into this particular arc, it made for a bit of a difficult read. This is the culmination of Whedon and Cassaday's run. This is 19 through 24 plus, what is it called? Giant Size
Astonishing X-Men Volume 1, Number 1.
Right, so that's like sort of the grand capstone here. And this is the end to all of the Breakworld ongoing storyline that's been sort of happening since the first arc of Astonishing with Ord. And now we, we're going to fly to Breakworld, where it's been prophesized that Colossus has the power to destroy this planet with his steel body.
Yeah. So let's get into that. Breakworld's the worst part of Whedon's run in general, right? Like, it's the weakest concept, the weakest everything.
You know, it's so funny. Like, I think upon my initial read of this, I wouldn't have said that just because I was kind of swept up in it, and I really love Cassaday's artwork. But taking a step back and looking at this a little bit more critically, the citizens of Breakworld kind of come across as, I don't know what you want to describe them as, like knockoff Skrulls. This entire
they're dumb aliens. They are dumb, like, we are gladiator combat aliens. And that's not exactly a new trope. That might actually be one of the oldest tropes in science fiction. There were princesses of Mars who had similar tropes to some of the things that we are seeing here.
Yeah, and the whole thing seems to, we've talked in before about the goal of this series does seem to be sort of, a nostalgia run, kicking it back to basics with a smaller cast. And there's a whole element of this that's kind of like Brood Saga light, that we're going to go off into space. We're going to have our alien adventure. We're all going to, we all could die, that kind of a thing. And it makes for, you would think they're high stakes, maybe upon first read, but inevitably they, if you've already read this story and you know that it culminates with Kitty Pryde being put inside of a giant bullet and launched at Earth, there's a certain Silver Age corniness to this story that is really strange.
Yeah, it's weird. So you talk about stakes, and I think that's an important thing, because where Abigail Brand lays it out, it says, look, Breakworld is going to blow up Earth if we don't figure out a way to stop them from blowing up Earth, which may include blowing up their planet, which the X-Men say, now hold on, we're not okay. Beast says, hey, I am not at my point in continuity where I'm all right with doing a genocide. I'm going to get there real soon.
He'll get there within this
real
episode.
Soon. Real soon I'll be okay with doing a genocide. But not yet am I okay with doing a genocide. That's terrible to laugh about, but it's just weird that Beast is in this position in our lives.
Oh my goodness.
So they go there, but the stakes don't matter because, look, they're not going to blow up Earth. That's where Spider-Man lives.
Right.
So he can't die.
Mm-hmm.
So Earth's not going to get blown up. And our other option is this planet we don't care about. And we get like a tour of the planet in so much as people willy-nilly go off to different locations, and it's incredibly poorly defined where anyone is in relation to anyone else at a given time, and people just kind of show up in scenes. It's very weird because the team, like, halfway through splits up, like, on 2 different submissions, and I didn't know where everybody was all the time. It's like, wait, how did they get there? I thought they were doing this thing. It is oddly rushed for having 7 issues where not a ton happens.
Yeah, it is odd. The members of SWORD are under command of Lockheed, we find out, but they've been separated from the rest of the group, and Danger is on her own sort of revenge mission that turns out to not actually be that big of a deal. Like, there are these things that seem to want to have higher stakes than they do, and boil down to, everybody's cool. Like Cyclops sacrifices himself to the vacuum of space, only to find out that it was his idea and he was just trying to get captured. And it's like,
okay, that Cyclops moment's pretty good though.
Well,
listen. That Cyclops moment where he reveals that he's been lying to Ord in a very confusing scene as you read it, because it's disorienting to the reader as well. But you find out that it's not Ord. I'm sorry, it's Warlord Kruun.
Right, Kruun.
They find out he finds out that he's been lying to Warlord Kruun about their secret weapon Leviathan, and he asks, "What else have you been lying about?" And then Cyclops just like smiles, and he shoots him with a big ol' optic blast that shoots through the sky and through multiple pages. And John Cassaday does an incredibly good job laying that out as a big moment. And then he's standing there and saying, "To me, my X-Men, let's finish this." And it's very good. That part, actually, I'll defend. That part is well done storytelling. However, I don't think anyone was under the impression that Cyclops actually killed himself in the vacuum of space.
No, I don't think so either. We just kind of glossed over the Cassaday art so far, but I think the thing that's tying all of this together is Cassaday's art, and I think it lends the story itself, a level of sophistication that if you were to read this with any other artist, I don't think it would fly. I don't think that
wouldn't.
I don't think that the Breakworld aliens would really work unless you had Cassaday doing the level of craftsmanship that he is with their facial expressions and, the weird hair sticking out of their face or whatever. It just doesn't work unless it's being done by an artist of this caliber. And, that was something that I thought about pretty regularly. I think the other thing that tripped me up on the opposite end of the spectrum was especially having, Whedon in my brain after these news events of the week. There's some really just awkward and weird things that he does, in terms of romantic relationships in these couple issues, certain lines that stood out to me. There is a real quick ad-lib line that Brand gives to two Breakworlders that are attacking her about sexual assault that just was like, why?
Oh, yeah, I had forgotten about that. There's some things that make me question how even in 2008, folks were holding up Joss Whedon as a feminist icon. Because there's some stuff that's bad by those standards. It's weird. This whole story is odd. The way that things resolve, it's frustrating because there's stuff that works about it. Like the scene at the end where Kitty and Emma are talking, and you get Emma and Kitty to admit their mutual respect for each other is an incredibly good scene of comics. Mm-hmm. It has incredibly good wordplay. It has emotional resonance. It's all the stuff that you remember from like a Buffy or a Firefly, and you're like, yes, I like this. This is good. I would like more of it. But then it's mixed in with dumb plotting and weird turns of phrase that don't work, especially with female characters in a lot of stuff. Like the danger stuff falls flat. Abigail Brand is an interesting character who gets a lot of weird stuff, and she gets essentially written as repressed and horny in this, which is not great. Right. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't love it. Nothing against my repressed horny friends, because I know you're out there, but it's weird that is what Whedon is putting up as this is the ideal woman. This is like, it's gross knowing it's hard to read this knowing everything we know now about Whedon and how he's a trash person.
Yeah, I think the other one that really stands out is the sex scene. We have this sort of strained relationship between Kitty and Colossus that then culminates, in this sort of, it's very similar to what happens in the Brood Saga, where everybody's sort of like saying their last farewells. Let's party before we go get killed off by aliens. And I don't know, like there's something just off-putting about the way that it's done. That I don't think I liked it the first time, and it all comes down to to how you might feel about the Kitty and Peter relationship in general, which we'll come back to in this episode.
I think if you look at Kitty and Colossus's relationship only in the span of Astonishing X-Men, I don't have any issue with that scene. Mm-hmm. And especially if that's how you are introduced to those characters, like a lot of comics fans were. Mm-hmm. Like Astonishing was a big deal when it was coming out.
Sure.
So that established the relationship to these characters, and all you got of the past is, well, they dated in the past, and none of the murky details, which the details are very murky and bad. But when you have those details, it's really hard to look at this and say, we should emulate this relationship, and this should be like the core emotional thing, where the other, like the flip side relationship is the relationship between
Cyclops
and Emma Frost, where I don't think in this entire run, but specifically in these 7 issues, I don't think you get a good reason to understand why why Cyclops and Emma are in a relationship. Like, Emma's just mean and Scott's not nice back to her.
Well, they're also admitting their love for each other for the first time. But I agree, it's a sort of a strange.
I thought that scene was dumb and bad, actually. when they're in the airplanes.
Spaceship. Yeah.
Well, actually, what I think was worse about that scene is the way it's lettered. Chris Eliopoulos does letters, and Chris is a great letterer. Don't get it twisted. But part of it's emulating like the very rapid fire Whedon dialogue where people are having like 2 conversations at once.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't work for a big emotional moment of Cyclops and Emma Frost saying they love each other and finally letting down their barriers. I don't think that really tracked as well as it should have.
Look,
that's just me.
We're sort of nitpicking here, but it doesn't hit the highs that I think other parts of this run hit. I know it tries to go completely, over the top with its giant size by including Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four, and we have some Avengers here, and it's going to be this big, huge finale. And I have to say, I remember the first time reading the Bullet going through Earth, I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. That's a neat element. But as I noted before, it's also sort of a very, kind of like hokey Silver Agey kind of thing to do as well. So what I took away from it this time really was how much, and we mentioned this before we started recording, that this arc took almost 3 years to put out. It came out over the course of 3 years. And I think what sells it is the artwork. I think if you had a lesser artist, somebody just doing, let's say, and this is not an insult to Ron Lim, but let's put like Ron Lim house art on this.
Yeah, I mean, that's not an insult to Ron Lim, but I understand.
There's a different level of draftsmanship. Like, I like Ron Lim's stuff, but I mean, just put somebody else on these issues, and I don't think it flies. I don't think it works nearly as well. So, I think it's great that Cassidy stuck around. I think it improves it greatly. But I think we both agree it's got its issues.
It does. Hey, we've got a lot of issues, though, on our big list of all the issues of all time of all the X-Men stories.
We sure do.
Do you know how many issues we have, Adam?
400 and something? Yeah.
468 stories on this big old list. The number 1 story on our list is, of course, Hoxpox. Number 100 on this list is the Bendis arc of Uncanny, where they go to Limbo. Number 200 on this list is Juggernaut's Back in Town from Uncanny X-Men 194. Number 300 on this list is Storm Volume 3, Number 3, Life Death 3. Number 400 on this list is Star Trek The Next Generation / X-Men Second Contact. And the bottom story is the Draco. Okay, so I want to give an astonishing update.
Okay. Do. Dampen.
I don't want to give... Womp Womp's good. I like that better. We have Gifted at number 5. Mm-hmm. We have Torn at 51. And we have Dangerous at 54. And all of those are better than this.
Yes. We also have 13 to 17 until our... What is it? Until our hearts stop down at...
Yeah, that's the Rosenberg at 250.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
That's probably the floor.
Yeah.
But it's honestly not that far away from there. Like, would you put this above Uncanny X-Men? 148 to 150, Magneto. Maybe, I don't know. We're getting close.
If I was going to go back, right below that at 244 is Wolverine Noir. And I think I like Wolverine Noir better.
Really? Huh.
I mean, okay, here, hold on a sec. There's a couple things.
Yeah, okay, just above that, actually.
Yeah.
Is another messy last arc.
Okay.
That's very comparable, and that is New X-Men, Here Comes Tomorrow. And Here Comes Tomorrow's better. That's at 242, and Here Comes Tomorrow's better.
I think Here Comes Tomorrow does a great job of just like throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Here Comes Tomorrow reaches for something.
Yes.
And it fails to get it. But
Yeah.
it's trying its hardest.
Yeah. I think, if you're being not as critical about this arc, that it probably hits some higher highs, but I still think we're in the right place on the list.
Like, you have Wolverine 17 to 23 highlighted.
I do.
That's the story where Wolverine fights a pile of sentient cocaine, correct?
It is. And I think that probably has some higher highs. That's a weird way to put that.
That's the worst joke you've ever told.
I didn't realize
That's so
I didn't
bad.
realize I was doing that. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, that makes it better.
All right.
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
Like this, the cocaine arc is uneven, to say the least.
Yeah.
It's a little lumpy.
I think the art is better on this. You know what this is better? All right, I'm gonna move us up just a little bit. I think this is probably
Okay.
better than 230, which is the Invisible Woman has vanished from X
Adam,
Factor.
we've got a weird list.
We do, right?
I don't even agree with most of these. This is not better. Here's what I'd say. It's not better than 225, the Captain America Secret Empire arc.
Yeah.
Where Richard Nixon shoots himself in the White House.
I agree.
It's not better than that.
It's not better than Spider-Man 8 to 12 Perceptions either.
It's not better than that first volume of Gambit, the first Gambit mini.
How about the X-Men Annual #1 from 2007?
That annual's probably not as good as this.
All right, so this is going to be our new 229.
229. 229, and then we're done ranking Joss Whedon comics unless somebody really, really, really wants us to talk about, I guess, Giant Size X-Men #3, I think he did a story in.
Okay.
But we don't need to. We
No.
don't need to talk about that one.
No, however, the effects of this Astonishing X-Men storyline do continue. We have talked before about some of them, including Magneto bringing the bullet back. But before that happens, we have a very sad boy with Colossus in Uncanny X-Men.
Here's the thing about Piotr Rasputin. I do like him. I love him. I think he's a great character. I just don't think he should be allowed to date for a while. I think he needs to work on him for a real long time, figure out how to properly respect people, and figure out that, no matter how sorry he feels for himself, maybe the world's not just his thing to play with and that other people get to have their own say in life. I think that once Peter crosses that Rubicon, I think we're going to be in good shape with the character, but he's got to learn because he's a sad boy most of the time.
Colossus is one of those characters who you want to root for, but then is written as somebody that you can't root for. So
The difference between Colossus and Beast is that Colossus wouldn't do a genocide.
you hope, right?
I mean, he jokes about doing a genocide in this one, and then in that last one he says, "This is why I don't make jokes. Don't know right time."
All right, so this is Uncanny X-Men 504 to 507. This is Matt Fraction,
It's called
right?
Lovelorn. Yeah, it's action math fraction with Terry Dodson, Rachel Dodson, and Justin Ponser. Rest in peace, buddy.
Yeah, and the one through line, there are a couple through lines here, but the one of them is Colossus versus Inc. Who?
Nope. It's not Ink.
That's not ink?
It's not ink.
Who is that?
That's not ink. That's unnamed tattooed mutant, according to the Marvel database.
Stop it.
Because we know it's not ink because he's very old, because he's from the old country.
He is older. I was confused by that, but still, it's not ink? Well, no, because ink doesn't have the power to...
Ink's not a mutant.
Oh, that's right. And ink doesn't have the power to move around his tattoos. I've been tricked.
Don't worry. Tattoo powers are dumb. I have nothing against tattoos. I don't personally have any. But I feel like tattoo superpowers are almost always dumb. And I'm basing that entirely off of ink and this one character from season 4 of Heroes. I did not keep watching after.
There was a season 4 of Heroes?
But Heroes went on for a while.
Really? I didn't get past season 2.
And here's the thing. As a 14-year-old, when that show came out, knowing that there were not actual X-Men shows coming out, I was like, I can deal with this. I can enjoy Heroes. Because Heroes, they say it was a superhero show. It was mostly an X-Men rip.
Oh, definitely.
Like, they
100%.
did Days of Future Past stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They did so many weird X-Men things. That part was fun. I don't ever want to return to it.
Season 1's a lot of fun. The rest of it is
You gotta save that cheerleader,
bad.
and then you'll save the world.
It's really
buddy.
bad. All right. Well, I'm glad that it's not.
Adam, there's youths who are listening to us who have no idea what we're talking
That's
about.
fine. Don't watch that show. Don't watch that show.
Oh my.
So Colossus is picking up the pieces on this retconned character who went back and basically blackmailed Colossus's parents into keeping it a secret that Colossus and Ileana were mutants. And Colossus seems to have this real innate fear of this scrawny gangster guy.
Yeah, that part's really weird, and I don't get it. Fraction doesn't set up that plot as well as he thinks he has here. In my opinion, what he has set up is that Colossus is very depressed, and Cyclops kind of goes to him and says, "Hey, Pete, got it. I know you're sad about your girlfriend in the space bullet. We're all sad. Mm-hmm. Gotta do something, bud. You gotta get off the couch. Go punch something. I know you love it. Go do that." And then he eventually does. He joins up undercover with the tattooed man's mob, finds out that the tattooed man is actually a human trafficker who is getting Eastern European mutants who had lost their powers in M-Day and using them as slaves, which is horrifying. And Colossus says, "Cool, I'm going to beat all of you really hard."
I did appreciate that.
He feels better about it.
Yeah, I appreciated that fact. They take these people out of this storage container, and he doesn't even wait 3 seconds to keep his cover. He's just like, "Nah, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna beat you up."
Okay, so found my line, found how far I was gonna go into this undercover, and it's the moment you hurt people.
Right.
Because Colossus doesn't want people to be hurt.
No.
He will hurt people if he's hurt because he's a broken, selfish man. But he does not want to cause violence. He has a lot of personal issues that this fictional character, I feel fine stumping for this fictional character who has not actually hurt anyone in the real world in a different way than I would of an actual abuser. Colossus needs to work on himself.
Well, this does get to a point where there's another through line in these issues that Emma is going through some stuff with Scott. And Emma decides to use her diamond form, and the two of them go back and just kick the crap out of Ink and his gang. And it makes
not Ink, but yes.
I'm just gonna call him that. Why not?
He's different because Mark Guggenheim and no one else will be mad if you besmirch the name of Ink.
Tattoo dude. And it does lead to a legitimately hilarious moment where all Peter wants to do is find out, who he is in this moment, and he rips the shirt open of Mr. Tattoo Man and finds this lovely Terry Dodson collage of Kitty and Colossus and happily in love, and it's just so silly.
It's pretty silly. Colossus then goes and gets a tattoo
Yes, he starts
which
the arc
has
by
been-
trying to get a tattoo, but he can't because the needle keeps breaking.
Yeah, it's forgotten about immediately. I don't believe this tattoo has ever appeared again.
Thank God, because he did tattoo Katya to his chest over a little heart. Nobody, you don't do that. Hey, Zach, there's another really, really fun part of this arc that I'm sure you're excited to talk about.
Yeah, I forgot about this part. So we all know that my favorite edition of this era is the X Club. That Beast and Angel go on a globe-trotting quest to recruit. So they recruit Dr. Nemesis, who... Here's the thing, Adam, do you know what Dr. Nemesis was up to before this?
He was hunting down, what is it? The cloned super Nazis of the Fifth Reich that were time traveling and trying to, I don't know what he's doing, but it makes for a great scene.
So he's doing that, but I mean before then.
Oh, I have no idea. I assumed that this was his first appearance since like the Golden Age.
Yeah, so he's a Golden Age character. Like, Marvel didn't create James Bradley, the Dr. Nemesis. He was created in the Golden Age, and then contract ran out on him. No one was paying the bills. You can find his comics online. They're not very good, but it's very funny to imagine X-Men Dr. Nemesis is this, because canonically that's what they are. Anyway, he called himself Dr. Death and had a real hard time where he started working with the Nazis and in the Invaders. It was a Roy Thomas kind of thing because, Roy Thomas and no one else loves the Invaders. Then anyway, he decides that being a Nazi is bad, actually.
Smart move, Dr.
And
Nemesis.
then he repents and chooses to kill all Nazis for all the time. And I love Dr. Nemesis so much. We're going to forget about the one weird 1990 Invaders story that no one of us have read. Don't tell me you've read that Roy Thomas Invaders from 1990 or whatever it was. So they recruit him. He's great. They also recruit Box from Alpha Flight.
Right.
Coming hot off the time that Box was brainwashed into creating a mutant concentration camp called Neverland. That's a Frank Thierry creation. That's very bad. We'll talk about Weapon X someday.
I don't like it.
That's the concentration camp that killed Maggot. That Frank Thierry was like, yeah, Maggot sucks. He's dumb. Let's kill him. And I'm like, bad, Frank Thierry. Bad. Then they recruit the most interesting member of this cast, which is Yuriko Takenouchi. Yuriko's first appearance was in Godzilla #1, Godzilla King of the Monsters, Marvel Comics Group's Godzilla King of the Monsters from Toho Productions' famed movie series. Godzilla. Like, he's fighting King Kong this spring.
That's right. Yeah. Who are you rooting for?
Godzilla. I just watched Godzilla King of the Monsters
It's bad.
recently.
It's
I had not
really
watched.
bad. I know this. I'm in the minority here, but I hated it so much. Tell me how much you
Okay.
loved it.
So here's the thing. I turned it on while I was folding laundry. And Adam, I do not know on God's green earth if there is a better turn it on while you're folding laundry movie than Godzilla King of the Monsters. Because here's what it has. It has Godzilla. It's got Mothra. It's got King Ghidorah. And I was not aware of this, so this got me. It's got Rodan. My boy Rodan's in that? I wasn't aware that Rodan, I knew Mothra was in it. I knew King Ghidorah was there. I was not expecting Rodan.
You know what it is? I don't think I have a healthy enough respect for the Godzilla franchise to really respect and understand a movie like King of the Monsters, but I did watch it.
Oh, it's a dumb movie. I don't remember much of the plot. I think it was bad. I think the plot was bad. I think Godzilla fought King Ghidorah and turned into his burning Godzilla form and blew up all of Boston. And then he becomes the king of the monsters. And then all of the monsters bow to him. And the movie immediately ends with no fanfare. It goes into a remix of Blue Oyster Cult's Godzilla. And there is not a movie that has ended better than that. I popped. I jumped out of my seat. It was like, oh yeah, are you serious? They just did that? I was a little drunk.
See, I liked Skull Island better, so I'm
I've not
rooting for
watched
King
Skull
Kong.
Island yet.
Oh, you should. It's
That's
good.
on my list.
Yeah, it's fun.
I like big monsters now. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, they're going to be big and they're going to fight each other. Anyway, you're delaying the most exciting part here, which is that we get a sort of Godzilla attack at the end of this story.
Yeah, actual Marvel Comics Toho Studios Godzilla shows up.
Mm-hmm.
It's going by the name Leviathan now, but it's Godzilla in that everything canonically about him follows Yuriko Takeguchi's arc from the Marvel Comics Godzilla.
Right.
And it's Marvel Comics Godzilla, and they had to change the name, and Archangel murders him.
In a really interesting reveal, too, because this is at the same time as Uncanny X-Force, isn't it?
Regular X-Force.
Regular X-Force, right. So we
the
need
black and white scrub.
Yeah,
squad.
we don't know that there's a Black Ops team right now, and Beast is like, wait, what just happened? You just like Archangel through Godzilla, which is fantastic.
It's the existence of Godzilla in the Marvel Universe makes me happy. The only reason why I'm okay with it not being around anymore is that we do have the American Kaiju now. Mm-hmm. You know about the American Kaiju. He's a giant Godzilla with an American flag on him, and instead of going, he goes, USA.
Sounds perfect.
It's the American Kaiju is so good. I've not read. There's a King in Black anthology story that was out last week that has American Kaiju in it, and I'm very excited because I love the American Kaiju.
There is a lot of fun to be had in these issues, which is kind of surprising given that the very next arc is one I really dislike, which is the Sisterhood.
Oh, it's Sisterhood.
Hate is, not a nice word to throw around, but I'm not a fan of that one. This one's a blast. So why don't we try and rank it here? I have highlighted issue number 200, Juggernaut's Back in Town.
I wouldn't go that high. I don't think, because I think this is a flawed story.
Well, it's not perfect. I just think it's fun. Do
you think this is better? Let me throw this out here because I know this is one that always gets you. Do you think this is better than Colossus God's Country?
Where do we have that at?
That's at 260.
Yeah, I think this is better than that.
We've got a weird list.
I think this is better than that.
If that's the case, then it's probably better than Uncanny 300.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't think this... I know I just said this. I don't think this is better than Here Comes Tomorrow, though.
No.
I like the Dodsons in this.
Yeah. The Dodson art is fantastic. I also don't think it's as good as Wolverine Noir, which I know I just said I liked better.
This is better than... This is right below that is All New X Factor 3 through 4, The Stolen Island, and this is better than that.
I would agree. So this is our new 246.
Our new 246 on our list is Lovelorn.
Well, luckily Colossus doesn't have to be Lovelorn for too long because, as I mentioned before, Magneto does bring Kitty Pryde back in her giant bullet. Unfortunately, she is stuck with another trope of Kitty Pryde's, which is she's phased and has to walk around in sort of a spacesuit to get around town.
Yep. And we start about it here in Uncanny X-Men 535 to 538. This is Breaking Point. It's the first arc solo written by Kieran Gillen. Mm-hmm. Pencils and inks by Terry and Rachel Dodson. and colors again by the late great Justin Ponser.
Yeah. And this is the follow-up to the Breakworld arc that we were talking about at the top of the show. Because, oh God, what's his name? What's
Warlord Kruun.
Yes.
Powerlord Kruun. I'm sorry. He's a Powerlord.
Well, he's not Powerlord anymore because Colossus ripped his arm off. So now Colossus is the Powerlord, but he just decided to skip town instead of governing the battle world of Breakworld. So,
to be fair, they didn't really explain that very well to him when he was on Breakworld.
No.
They didn't say, by the way, you're our leader now.
Right.
And he said, no one, if they told him, they could. I just think the Breakworlders could have clarified the legal precedent that Colossus had set.
Yes. Well, the Breakworlders have come to Utopia, which has been formed at this point, and they seem to want peace. They just want to be refugees. At least that's what we think is happening. And then it turns out that's not what's happening.
It's also not what's happening. Because most of them want peace. Powerlord Kruun does want to, get revenge. But everyone else seems to be pretty chill.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting contrast. All Magneto really wants to know is what that bullet's made out of. Which is like, why do you care so much, Magneto?
Yeah, Gillen does this weird thing. He's like, yes, I know so much about metal because I'm Magneto, but I don't understand this metal. And one, that's never really resolved in this story or in any of Gillen's stuff. And two, I don't think Magneto's a real metallurgist. If I do say so myself, I don't think Magneto cares about metal. I think Magneto knows that he can throw metal at people.
Right, he's not sitting there with his atomic charts. But
do you even know what atomic chart? What, Adam? Do you know what chart would be most relevant to Magneto?
No.
Probably a phase state diagram.
Okay.
For the given alloys that he's messing with. I took one metallurgy class. It was really fun because we got to pour molten metal into sand and make things. Yeah, that part was neat. Also went to a foundry. Foundries are terrifying and horrible, even the nicest ones.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine. Very, hot and gooey and scary.
No, it's mostly just dirty.
Well,
it's mostly just real freaking dirty.
So, what's his name? Grun? Is it Grun?
Powerlord Kruun.
I keep forgetting. Anyway, he enacts his revenge. He has a partner who, I guess, fixes Kitty Pryde by slitting her throat.
So we find out a couple of things. One, Breakworld metal does weird things to Kitty Pryde.
Right.
Why? Because Joss Whedon said it does. Whatever. We've accepted that. We're not gonna delve any deeper into those details. We don't need to. We're not Magneto.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, we also find out that the Breakworld's resurrection techniques essentially steal the soul of somebody else and put it back into somebody's body to give them life again.
Yeah, which is a weird touch because they basically say that Colossus is made up of 4 Breakworlders.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we killed you 4 or 5 times, Colossus, so we sacrificed 5 of our dudes to get you back. Which is weird.
Yeah, definitely.
And then it's weird how it resolves, because essentially you have Powerlord Kruun, and you have his paramour, Helena, like the My Chemical Romance song. And she's like, I just want Kruun to calm down, because I really think he's a nice guy. When he's not angry and vengeful and bloodlusty, he's a really sweet guy. And she sacrifices herself. Well, first she kills Kitty Pryde with the Breakworld medal, and then sacrifices herself to bring Kitty Pryde back, so that Kitty Pryde could come back in her not intangible form, in her tangible form. And then Warlord Kruun kills himself to bring Helena back, but also Warlord Kruun doesn't kill himself all the way in such that he splits his soul with Helena so that they're both half alive.
See, that part didn't make sense to me. Like,
It makes no sense.
That part-
I'm editorializing there.
yeah, that last part with Kruun kind of cheating death was a little bit of a cheat there.
They could have just killed him. No one would have cared.
Yeah. Well, it does end with a funny sequence of Kruun helping a lady cross the street with her groceries in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, they take up residence
Yeah.
in San Francisco, like beat down place, and they build their own community there. It's fine. The Breakworlders live in San Francisco now, and only Greg Pak remembers that.
Yeah, that's fine. I think it's okay if we don't
It's fine.
don't recollect this particular plot that often. I mean, this is fine. I think the dialogue is okay. Dodson does a great job with the artwork, but it's not a very interesting story, and we don't need a callback to these characters, in my personal opinion. It just seemed like an arc excuse to get Kitty Pryde back into a corporeal state. I guess through a rudimentary crucible system.
I think what happened here is, one, Gillen had in a really, I remember it being good, Sword miniseries with Brand and Beast and Unit, who has a appearance here. We haven't talked about Unit much. We'll talk about Unit someday.
Yeah.
Unit's weird. I like Unit, but Unit's weird.
There's a little cameo in the beginning here.
Yeah, Unit shows up. But I think what happened is Kieran Gillen said, well, I got to fix Kitty Pryde at some point because this is just annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of really want to keep doing sword stuff. Wait a minute. Perfect idea. And I understand from that point, like if those are the two pieces you're working with, Breakworld makes sense to slap together and be like, let's do a callback here. I wish he would have done it better. This is not my favorite Kieran Gillen story. I think Kieran Gillen's a really talented writer, one of my favorite X-Men writers in general, is currently making me care about the Eternals, which is a weird feeling that I don't enjoy. Eternals 2 was pretty good.
Well,
You know how the mutants have a resurrection machine that always works?
yes.
The Eternals resurrection machine now doesn't work, so now they can die, and that's the big twist. There's data pages.
That's a
Love
pretty
it.
big twist. Yeah, it's not that Gillen's like getting the voices of the characters wrong or anything here. It's more just, this, we don't need more exploration of Kruun and his friends.
Kruun! Powerlord Kruun!
You're making
It's
it
fine.
sound much cooler than it is.
I think that's the way Joshua Whedon wants us to say it.
Oh, well, I don't care what he wants. So,
Good answer. Should we rank this bad boy?
yeah. How do you think? I don't think it's it's definitely not as fun as Lovelorn.
It's worse than Lovelorn, but
And where did we put the other one?
above it. Hey, how do you feel about it compared to Sabretooth in Charge at 267?
267. I like Sabretooth in Charge better. That has that really
I like
funky art.
Sabretooth in Charge better.
Yeah.
It's Ricardo Lopez Ortiz, who did a recent book with Steve Orlando called The Pull from TKO that was pretty interesting. I think it was a little uneven, but the art was gorgeous the entire time. Absolutely beautiful. I think he's doing some Batman stuff with James Tynion, and he's also has a short ongoing thing in Tynion and Steve Fox's Razor Blades, which is really fun. If you've not checked out Razor Blades, the horror anthology, go check that out. It rules.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
Yeah, go check that out. Go check out Razor Blades. Hey, so if we're going under there, how do you feel about it compared to Into the Void from Los Patacios Uncanny?
That's strangely comparable. Like,
Weirdly comparable.
yeah, good art, kind of like just wonky, whatever. You know what? That's a good place for it because it's very similar to like in the one below it too, which is Cable and Deadpool 7 to 10 Burnt Offering.
This is better than Burnt Offering.
Yeah. So, and I think I would revisit Into the Void before I would revisit this, just because of the Portasio art. So is this
Yeah,
our new...
Adam, that's the least shocking thing that you've told me. Oh, I'd like to read this early 90s X-Men story.
So this is our new 291.
This is our new 291. It's breaking point, and we're done. We've reached our breaking point. But we want to thank Jeremy Thomas for bringing us there. Again, Jeremy went on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/comicsxf. Every dollar in that Patreon goes towards our team in one way or another. Mm-hmm. So if you want to support that, that's great. We're doing great work. You can get an episode. You can get special access to our Discord. We're probably going to be doing another Discord live thing real soon as this comes out. I've got to schedule that still. But, watch this space. Wink, wink.
Yeah. First one was fun.
First one was fun, I hear. Next on our list of things to talk about is Adam. Where can people find you online?
Folks, you can always follow me on Twitter at Arthur Stacy and Instagram at adam.rec. And what's going on over at ComicsXF, Jeff? Did I just call you Jeff?
You did just call me Jeff, and that's weird because...
I was pronouncing ComicsXF, and then I went to say...
Jeff.
And then I went to say Zach, and Jeff came out? Is that like a weird... I don't know. It's a rhyme.
Yeah, it is weird what you did.
ComicsXF Jeff.
X Jeff. ComicsX Jeff. Yeah. No, so on ComicsX Jeff, we've got some really good stuff. Jude Jones wrote a really great piece that went out today. We've had a lot of cool interviews, including stuff with Declan Shalvey went out today. We've got an interview with Danny Lore that's going to be out the week you're listening to this. Lot of neat things happening in that space.
Nice.
And then just our normal reviews and stuff, which I always love. Go check that out. We're reviewing Detective Comics now.
Oh.
There's potential that I may be reviewing a Detective Comics comic, and that's going to be weird.
That would be interesting.
I'm really excited. I've heard about this new character. His name's Shazadam, and he seems really cool. And I would like to be the world's #1 Shazadam stan. So we'll see if I end up bearing that cross or not. But next week, Adam, do you know what cross we get to bear?
Folks, we are going to talk a whole episode about Nova Roma.
We're going to talk about Celine. She's a big-breasted woman, and she's in a lot of bad stories.
Whew.
It's going to be weird.
It's going to be fun.
It is, guys.
It's going to be a little awkward.
Y'all, we've been looking at our schedule, and we've had so many things that we don't want to talk about right in a row. And I think the week after we're rewarding ourselves, and by we I mean me, and Adam's not getting a reward. Adam's getting a punishment for my own enjoyment. But it'll be fun. But until then, folks, this has been Battle of the Atom, and we hope you survived the experience.
Get it!